Hey yo, salute to all my subscribers. Shout out to everybody else passing through. YouTube, what's good? Um, I just got finished watching a news story, excuse me, not too long ago. I think it was yesterday, last night. 4-year-old girl gets killed, and the mother and the boyfriend gets charged in her death. And I was watching the court appearance for the arraignment for the mom and for the boyfriend. And all you can see and hear in this video is just this father of this 4-year-old just crying, going crazy, that his daughter's dead. And, the reason why I jumped all over this when I saw it is because one, it's so sad and so tragic, and the situation as it continues to unfold because it's still pretty fresh. This father had been fighting for custody of his daughter. He was currently going through court proceedings, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were supposed to have an appearance in family court either the day of or the day after this arraignment that was happening for the death of this 4-year-old. And it's I talk about all the time how the court system, in almost every situation, almost always, when a mother and a father, the relationship ends and there's a child or there's children involved, the court system almost always sides with the mother as far as physical custody goes. And I'm on record as saying that I don't agree that that should always be the default. And, in this case, this father fought for custody of his child, wanted his daughter to be safe, told the court that there were issues and that he did not want his daughter in that environment. And, they were slow to act, and in my opinion, and my heart goes out to this father because as a father, I don't know, I couldn't even imagine ever having to deal with a situation like that, but I have to think if this was a situation where it was the other way around and this mom was looking to keep this daughter away from the father, I feel like the courts would have acted much faster. There would have been protective orders, there would have been restraining orders, and all types of shit that goes into place with these fathers. But when it comes to trying to get custody of a child away from an unfit mother, you got to jump through hoops. It's almost impossible. And even if you do succeed, for the men out there who have succeeded in being able to do that, it takes them months and years. And in this case, unfortunately, the court screwed up and they couldn't save this little girl. You put fathers through the ringer. You call everything into question that this father has ever done and make them prove beyond all shadows of doubt that they should have this child. And then look what happens in this case. And I'm sure that this wasn't the only time. And I'm sure that this won't be the last time. And I'll stipulate to the fact that, it doesn't happen, often. It's far, few and far in between. But these types of things should never happen where a father has to. I was looking at the I think some a picture or a meme or a screenshot on Facebook, I think this morning, of this father, at this little girl's funeral, and you should never, no parent should ever have to bury a child, but especially when, and this is another reason why I have so many issues with the legal system as a whole. It's so flawed. There should never be a parent that has to bury a child because they are petitioning to the courts, that the other parent is not fit to have custody of that child. And then, for one reason or another, just the court system being a slow, drawn out process, slips through the cracks. And in this case, it ended in a 4-year-old, a little girl who will never be able to experience life, will never be able to have the chance to live life. And all because her only mistake in life was trusting the mom that created her and brought her into this world. And my problem is when the court system looks at these types of situations for men who are out there trying to vie for the custody of their kids, because they feel like they're the better parent, they're the parent who's deserving to be the custodial parent. They know they already have an uphill battle. You know what I mean? And if the court looks at it like, the biological mother is by default, in most cases, the best case scenario because of their connection with the child, which I don't always agree with. the court system needs to take into consideration a lot of these women when they get out of these relationships with their kids, with their children's father. They get involved with these random men that they don't really know much about, what their background is, and you're potentially having a stranger around that child. And from my perspective, it's always better to have the child with their birth father, who of course wants them to be with them, than to allow that child to be with someone who potentially would let that child, you know, in the presence of a complete stranger. And let's be real, a lot of these mothers, they're not vetting these men that they're allowing their child to be around. And a lot of these mothers leave these children alone with these men who are complete strangers and they don't know anything about them. That's the type of shit that causes so many of the situations that we see in the news, with children being molested and, just fucked up situations. Anyway, man, I saw this story and it was fucked up. All prayers and thoughts go out to this father, and it's just, it's crazy. And how do you have faith in the legal system when something like this happens? You know what I mean? Let me know what you guys think. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I don't pretend to know everything. I just know what I know. I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love.